All right, we'll go ahead and do the next 10 problems. So once again here, we are comparing these bar graphs, segmented bar graphs here, okay? And remember, these are giving you proportions of the total. So proportion of the 8th grade, proportion of the 7th grade, and proportion of the 6th grade. So if I don't know the total amount in those grades, then I cannot talk about the number of students in those categories. The only thing I would be able to do comparative wise with numbers is if I compared in the same grade level. For example, I can see 6th grade would have a higher number in this activity B, higher number than 6th grade has in activity A or C. I can compare this out of the same total. All right, so then that is what happened with all of these. Okay, right. So that's what happened for answer choice D. All of the other ones were comparing numbers between different grade levels, but D compared only two activities in out of the same total, out of the same grade level 7. So that's why that one's that answer. And then once again, see, over and over again, I keep seeing that they get you on the number of visits. Okay, so we don't know how many is in each category. So over and over and over again. So here we can see that the spread for the four-year college IQR is less than the community college IQR. So this little IQR is less than this little IQR. It's interesting how they don't have whiskers here, right? So what's happening is without whiskers, that's because a whole 25% went to 3. And here, a whole 25% were at 2. So the whole entire quartile were at those values. So that's interesting. All right. Here we had these dot plots. And so I actually just went through all of them and counted until I found those median. The median is right in the middle. And then Q1, of course, being the middle of the bottom half, Q3 being the middle of the top half. So when I did that, then I could tell that the numbers, the first quartiles were the same, medians, third quartiles, and IQRs were the same. The only difference was that the range for the corn was more than the range for the soybeans. All right, so why is this misleading? Well, look, it is starting at 196. So since it's starting at 196, look at week 4. It looks to be like a quarter of the amount. It looks to be a fourth as much as week 1, but it's not. Week 1 is 209, and week 2 is or week 4 is say 199. Okay, so what is that? That's only 10 points different. Instead of being so much, I think I had computed a little bit different here. It's 13 points higher. But you can see it's definitely not 4 times higher. So it is violating that area principle. Here on number 16, okay, so let's take a look at these because we hadn't done these in a while. So here I first asked you the marginal. So marginal comes from these totals. Now, do you remember when we talked about kind of like what's the explanatory variable? We're seeing if the environmental club is having an impact on the rate at which you choose to use these motorized vehicles. And so the summary or the marginal is the overall never used, overall snowmobile renter, and overall snowmobile owner. So that came from those. Now, then the conditional is going to be conditional upon you not being in the environment club or conditional upon you being in the environmental club. So therefore, see here, I said, here's the conditional, those middle sections. And so then I'm going to compare these conditional ones to the marginal to see if the fact that you are one thing, being in the environmental club, affects the rate at which you had the snowmobile usage. So that leads into this one. Yes, there is an association. They are related. There is an association between environmental club membership and snowmobile usage. Okay? Because the fact that you are or are not in the environmental club affects the rate at which you have those things. Do not use, rent, or own a snowmobile. And then you need to give an example. Now, on AP, they would expect you to give an example in all three categories. Okay, so you would have to do that example in all three categories. And so I did here and said which one's more, which one's less, that kind of thing to get full credit. All right, here we go. Number 17 is a cumulative frequency curve. So since it is cumulative, look over here on the left. These are your percentages. And so because of the percentages, I can actually find, I could even find IQR and the median and all those kinds of things. So here they asked from a study wished to classify as light, moderate, and heavy, and they want to the ones they want to say moderate are between 4 and 8 ounces per week. So I could see that went from 20 ounces or 20% to 60%. So that encompasses 40% of the people. And then here was a transformation problem, knowing that mean is affected by both things, including plus 32, but the standard deviation is not affected by the plus 32. And let's see here. Oh, this is a good one because, see, you can tell where the median is. You can tell where Q1 is located and Q3. That's the beauty of a cumulative frequency plot. You could even tell if there were outliers. But anyway, the median is there, 2.4. When I did the Q3 minus Q1, it is A. And then here's this. This was an actual AP question. So we have this distribution of heights in inches of the 100 adult men. So I actually counted, where all of these quartiles were. So I counted to the 50th and so on and so forth. So I knew the top 24 pieces of data was in the top quartile, and then from data pieces 25 to 32 is the third quartile, and so on. Okay, so therefore, because of this, I know that Q3 is going to be in this is 71. Q1 is 66. So my 71 minus Q1 is 5, an IQR of 5. And then this last one, the standard deviation is the average distance from the mean. And so we wanted to know which one is the smallest standard deviation. So you would be looking for the ones that are most closely clustered together around the mean. And D has the smallest spread. Now, I would go with E as the next one, and that one actually I remember earlier in the year I had picked first, but because this one actually has the data clustered just from 6 to 10, this one certainly has the data most closely clustered together, so it's the smallest standard deviation. All right, there is your numbers 12 to 22. And so good luck to you on your next section of your parts 2 and 3 review.